So I picked up a very basic data set wherein we look at some students and then you know basically use the formulas for for the marks and and to get the formulas working for the for them. Like I said, we have today we have if, not, or, and, if plus or, if plus and, which is which is a nested formula. And there's also something new that Excel has brought in, that is ifs. Okay, so that these are the formulas that we'll be covering in terms of just if. And there is also some if, average if, and count if. So we'll be going through that as well. So if you see, I picked about 25 25 students over here. All this was generated by chat not chat gpt. It was generated by Copilot, which is a which is a AI tool from Microsoft. So what we do over here is we'll and I've given a short disclaimer over here. So for us, this becomes this becomes the a threshold to calculate most of the things over here. So the maximum marks that one can score is 400. And I have people from different cities over here, and I have people from different classes, and these are the four subjects that we'll be looking at. So I hope you've learned some formulas in some formula in your previous Excel classes. So what I'm going to to begin, I'm going to just quickly sum up the marks that each student has got, and then find their percentage. Mm, I hope you guys already know this, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But if you want me to speak, it's just a basic formula wherein you just type in sum and select the range, and then hit on enter. And then to find the percentage, your total mark becomes the numerator, and your maximum marks becomes the denominator, and then that gives you the percentage that you're looking for. Okay, so like I said, there are different formulas that we'll be looking at. So this can be used for both numbers and also for text. So as of now, we'll start using this for numbers, and if time allows, we can pick some of the examples for text functions, and then see how the logical functions can be used over there. All right. So as I said, so this is our threshold. So one has to score more than 50% to mark themselves as pass, right? So it's an if condition again. So all we do is we write if, and you can just you can just what Excel says over here. So the first part of the formula is logical test. What are you trying to what are you trying to achieve from this? All you have to do is come over here, and then say Excel, if this is more than 50%, then give me pass. And then your text or your written value should always be in double quotes. Otherwise Excel will not take the formula. And also it has to the formulas will have to be, or the sections in the formula will have to be separated by commas, like I've done over here. So we finished two sections. There's one more section, that is value if false. So like the sections itself says, so if the logical test, say suppose if J3, that is the percentage is more than 50%, then if that becomes true, then this formula would return me pass. If not, it would return me fail. All right. So yeah, there you go. Our Excel formula worked. So this person has got only 26%. Hence this person's result is fail. And to drag the formula, you can just select the range and just click on Control D. So it drags the formula all over till the end. Okay. So, and not is basically a very basic formula. It just looks at true or false. It is somewhat similar to if condition, but what it would do is it would just look at a particular value and say whether it is true or not. Okay. Say if you want to see if the total marks is more than 200. Okay, all you have to do is just type in not and put what logic that you're trying to put over here. So if total marks is more than 200, then return me true. Okay, less than 200 rather. Okay, oh yeah, more than, sorry. So if you look at over here, wherever it says true, wherever it says true, the total is more than 200. Okay, for you to quickly check that, what you could do is you can just quickly apply a formula. I mean, quickly apply a filter and then select only true. And if you look at the total marks, all are about 200. Okay. Uh, are you guys able to follow along? Just give me a, thumbs up. Um, yeah, I see a question over here. From someone on 0.5 logic. Yeah, so 0.5, 50% is basically 0.5. Yeah, thank you, Shibo. That helps. 0.5 is more easier because you don't bring in too much confusion. And like Shibu said, you can also use 50%. Then it would work. Okay. The next one that we're going to look at is OR. So OR is where you have multiple conditions to look at, and if one of the condition passes, then you get then you get a true or false value. Okay. So what I'm trying to do over here is I'm trying to check if this if one of these if the students have got at least 50 marks, or if they've got at least more than 50 marks in one of the subjects. So like all the formulas, you start the formula with the equal sign and type in the formula. And if you look at over here, the logics come over here. So it is more sort of an extended version of not. In not, you just get to validate one particular cell. Here you can here you can validate as many cells as you want. Okay, so here let's see, we are trying to see if anybody has got more than 50 marks in one of the subjects. So you just have to go to each cell and start applying the same logic. Okay, and if the condition satisfies in at least one scenario, minimum is one scenario. If it satisfies, then it would return true over here. Okay, so here this person has got 50 over here, so hence it is giving us the value. Yeah, so it's more than 50. So this is equal to 50. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to get more than 50. So if you want to, if you want to include equal sign where it is less than or equal to, you can also use equal to over here. And if you just drag the formula again, we'll validate if this is working correctly. Let's pick true. And if you look at one of the employees, so one of the students rather, this student has got 82 in one subject, another 82. This person has got 62 in one subject, so they would have got at least 50 in one of the subjects, so hence it would return true. Okay, or and or plus and, both are, both can be little confusing at times. Or is where you want one of the conditions to satisfy, and is where you want all the conditions to satisfy. Okay, um are you guys able to follow along? Just give me a thumbs up. Or okay, thanks Nikita. Awesome. So the next one is where we are trying to check, it's an and formula again. We are trying to check if a student has got more than 50 marks in all the subjects. So it's going to be something similar. Okay, uh, once you master Excel, what you could do is, you can just take this formula and then paste it over here. and just make it into and. Okay, that's when you basically master Excel. But then let's see, let's try doing it again. So we are trying to see if a student has got more than 50 in all the subjects. And like I said, if you're following along, I'm separating all the logics by comma. So your comma, your full, your brackets, everything becomes very, 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 very important when you're trying to use a formula in Excel. So if you look at this person, he's not got 15, and more than 15 any of the subjects. So it says false. Okay. And if we just track the formula like we did for all others, and if you apply a formula to verify this, put a filter and select true. So we've got only about 3 students who've got at least 15 all the subjects. So 75, 78, 89, 95. So all these are more than 50. Hence, this is becoming true. Okay. So if you understand these conditions, you can start creating at least the basic nested formulas. We've had instances where we've used if with a VLOOKUP, if with an if error condition, or if with a count a. You could use if in a lot of places. But these are the basic ones that you can definitely use in your day-to-day activities. Say if you're working on an employee record, or if you're working on a finance record. Say if you want to give revenue only to a certain set of people. Okay, if somebody's sales has exceeded more than $100,000 in a particular period of time, and if you want to give commission only to such people, you could use this formula in such cases. Okay. So if you've observed, in if condition, we were able to give a customized value, or a value that we wanted, right? But then or plus and did not allow you to do that. The true or false were given by Excel, and you cannot basically change the true or false by using or plus and alone. So it has to be a nested formula. Nested formula is something where you use multiple formulas to get the output. Okay. um just see if I have any questions over here. um mm, okay, I think should the formulas answering my question Q&A. Okay. Sure. Do we have Vinod, would we be able to share this Excel with them?
Yeah, Abhishek, you can share with them.
How do we share? I don't think I can send an attachment over here.
The chat only can see.
Okay.
That was please now.
Yeah. Let's try. Okay. Think there is some technical challenges in terms of sharing the sharing the working file, but I'll see if I can share the answers with you later. Okay, so we were here in the and condition. So let's go for you know let's go for nested formulas where we use if plus r, or in the same cell. So what we're trying to do is, like I said, once you master the formulas, you can copy paste all these things in the same Excel, in the in the cells. Then since we're learning, let's do it one by one. So this is how the formula goes. In a normal formula, you would just put one formula, but then in a nested formula, like I said, you would use multiple formulas. So if and or. So what would or do? Or would look at everybody's numbers, and then it would return the value. All right. So if you remember from the or formula, we were looking at all the cells, and we were checking if they've got at least 50% in all the subjects that they've appeared for. Okay, so let's do the same thing over here. Okay, and if this condition is satisfied, let's call it pass. If this condition is not getting satisfied, let's call it fail. Okay, so if you look at this employee, or if rather if you look at the student, student has not scored more than 15 in any of the subjects. So like we saw when we did or condition, it was false over here and it is fail over here. Okay, and if you drag the formula, it says pass in some and it says fail in some. And if we pick only pass cells and see if our logic is working correctly, so let's select pass. And so if you look at this employee, sorry, this if you look at the student, the student has scored at least 50 in two subjects. The condition is to look at employee, look at students if they have scored at least 50 in one of the subjects. So if you look at this student, out of four subjects, the student has scored 62, which is more than 50 in one of the subjects. Hence, the result is pass over here. Okay, and same logic with and as well. But in here, instead of looking at one of the, instead of satisfying one of the conditions, this particular logic will have to satisfy, will have to satisfy all the all the conditions to get the true value. Okay, so again, let's use the 50 logic again. And if this is a pass, no, let's call it pass. If not scored 50 in all the subjects, then let's call it fail. So it is fail in most of the cases, as you would imagine, because most of them not have not scored 50 in all the subjects. However, we do have some employees, some students who have scored more than 50 in all the subjects. Suppose this student, Ashton Mercado, um, she has scored more than 50 in all the subjects. So hence, hence you get the fail. Sorry, hence you get the pass. You know, uh, result over there. Okay, and in ifs, this was not there earlier. Probably if you were using Excel in 2011 or 2013, up until 2015, we never had ifs. We had only if. So ifs is where you can apply multiple logics to a same field. Okay, here if you look at or and we were looking at different cells and applying the formulas. Here you can use the same cell to to get you different results, right? Say when we all of us were students once, right? And we were given grades, first class, second class, distinction. So you would be able to relate to what we are talking about now. So say let's give a let's give um, let's give some grades to them. Say suppose if their marks is less than 50%, and somebody raised a question on using percentage. Yeah, we could also use 50%. We saw that earlier. So if somebody's grade is less than 50% or percentage is less than 50%, let's call them as failed. Result is failed. And if you are following the formula over here, it allowed me to put a different different logic with the same cell. So again, if this is, let's call it, again, you can use and over here also. uh, if my marks is more than 50, and less than, say, 75, we'll call that as first class. And anybody who've gotten more than 75, let's give them a distinction grade. And if you're following along, we've used commas everywhere. We've used double inverted commas, double inverted this thing, and also all the logical operators, that is equals, less than, or more than. Just make sure that you use the right logical operators, and if that is working correctly, then your formula also would work correctly. Okay, so this student has got 26%, which means this student is failed. So let's track the formula and see if it is working correctly. We also have some not applicables, so which we could obviously fix. So where do they fall into? Mm, so this is less than 50% failed. And okay, here we had to use J3. If you look at the formula, there's a everything has to look at the same cell. Here we were looking at K3, hence the formula was broken, right? So now if you drag the formula, then you would get the right result. So logic what we've used, anybody who's scored less than 50% is failed, 50 to 75% is first class, anybody who's got more than 75% is distinction. All right. So if you apply the filter to check if our logic is working correctly, let's pick failed and see what are the values that we're getting. Okay, if you look at over here, everything is less than 50%. Okay, and the same would have worked for the other ones as well. Let me check the chat box. Yeah, thanks, Shibu. Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, just did. Yeah, we could use that. If or you can select the range and do a 50. Correct. Yeah. There's a question. What are the key differences between if and or? So, John, if is where you can put a logic, and get a desired value. You can call it pass, or you can call it Bangalore, Mysore, you can call it whatever you want. And is where you have multiple logics, and all the logics will have to satisfy to get a true, get a true answer. And or is where one of the conditions has to satisfy. Say if there are 10 criterias, if one criteria satisfies, then you would get a true value. I hope that answers your question. Yes, Vamshi, because 50 will also fail because we are using more than 50 only, not less than 50. If plus and condition failed for third record in pass filter. Shekhar, maybe you can elaborate your question more. I'll come back. Okay, we've done this. Okay, and we have conditional formatting. Let's start something really really basic, wherein we look at coloring these based on a value. Okay, so there are different ways of conditional formatting. You can basically make your Excel look so colorful with conditional formatting, but that's a discussion for a later day. So we have numeric conditions, or also the text conditions, and also duplicates. Like you see over here, we have greater than, equal to, between, equal to, text that contains dates occurring, duplicate values. And you can use you can use it in multiple different ways. Okay, here let's say, if somebody has a failed result, then let's mark it in red. Okay, so if you see over here, everything gets turned into red. Okay, and this would apply. This is something that is very random. Say, we call it fail over here. Same way, it gets changed. Okay, so based on the condition, based on the text that is given over here, the conditional formatting will also act dynamically. Okay, and say, let's call pass, let's mark everything that is pass in green. Okay, so that's what we see over here. Okay, for percentage, we saw the text conditions over here. For percentage, we had three different ones over here. you know First class, failed, and distinction. We could use the same logic, if need be. Okay, um but let's use 50 or more, to in keeping time in. So anything that is less than 50 or equal to 50 is marked in red over here. Okay, and if anything that is greater than 50, which is our logic, right, to get passed, and I want that to be marked in green. Okay, oh sorry, I had to select the whole range. If it's more than 50, we'll fill it with green. Okay, it might look too flashy for you. You might just want different colors. You could do that as well. Okay, if you go to the logic, if you go over here, it allows you, you can just use the text over here. You can just use the light red fill option, or red border, or custom format. You can format it however you want. If you want to strike it through, or if you want to use a different font style, if you want to do a different bordering color, so on and so forth. It is all up to you. However you want your conditional formatting to work. Okay, I hope we are good so far. Let me just take a quick. Sure, Manikandan. I'll check if you could do that. Um, Divya, I'm pretty sure that is not Excel. Okay. So we have few more formulas to look at. Okay, I'll just write the formulas over here. SUMIF. These are the formulas that we'll be using to get this. And COUNTIF. Not sure if someone has already used this conditions in the past, then hopefully this would be a good exercise for you again. Probably a revision sort of a thing. Okay. Uh, so when we counted the marks, right? When we counted the marks, we've sort of summed everything, right? Say if you wanted to sum only physics answers, you know you could select only this column, or probably you could just select the columns that you want and then do a sum over here. But when you have a large data set, that is not possible and it becomes really tedious. So in such cases we use this. Okay, I've put up few questions over here, for us to understand the understand these conditions much better. Okay, so let's say if I want the sum of total marks of all the students that are from Bangalore. Okay, all I would do is I would just write sum if. So for me the range would be, so basically the range is where you select you select the condition array. Okay, and let's lock this because I'm not selecting the entire range. um and for me Bangalore is the criteria. So I want student, I want total marks of Bangalore who are from, I mean, total marks of all the students who are from Bangalore. Okay. So if you're following along, the condition range is the condition. We've filled the criteria. Some range. What do we want to sum up? So total marks is something that we need to sum up. Okay. So once we select this, it would say 956 over here. Okay, always make sure you select from the header itself. Otherwise what Excel would do is Excel would by default select the first row as the header. Okay, say we wanted date of Bangalore students. If you look at their total now, it says 956 over here and it says 956 over here, so we are in the right track. All right. Say we want, like I said, we have different if conditions. So we have average if. Say if I want average of only first PUC students. All right. um what we do is, once you type average, it would give you the logic, and it would also work in a similar fashion like how you did for Bangalore, to get the marks of Bangalore students. So here we want average total of first PUC students alone. So what we do, so for us, the range now would be the class. All right. So identifying the right range and the logic becomes more important over here. And make sure you put the criteria in the double inverted commas. Okay, or within the quotes. Okay, and what is our average range over here? So what do we want to look at? We want to look at total marks. So we want to average out this total marks. Okay, and let's log the formula over here. Okay, so 168 is what I'm getting. Okay, um, if you want to verify, we can just go here and let's say first PUC students, right? So we'll select first PUC and then see what is the average of marks that they got. It says 168. C2, yeah. Like I said, if you remember, I had mentioned this point in the previous previous formula. So we had to select data from the header itself. So what Excel has done now, it has made my first, the first guy was from first PUC. So it has converted this 102 into header, not as marks. So let's change this formula to H2. Then we would get what we wanted. So 200 is what we were getting as logic, as average over here, 200.33. So if you increase the decimal, you would also get the same thing. All right. So we'll just do a COUNTIF, and then I'll come to the chat if there's any questions. Okay. Out of all the if formulas that we use, COUNTIF is the easiest one. Say here we want how many students have passed the exam. So it's you don't have to count. You don't have to use different ranges over here. So for us, uh, this is the place where we get pass fail results, right? So we go here, we just put COUNTIF, and we select the range. Sorry. And we lock the formula. If you're selecting the whole range, then you don't have to lock the formula, it would work correctly. But since we are selecting only the selected cells, using the log functionality. Okay. So we have 7 students who passed the exam. Is my data correct? It indeed is. 7 is what we get over here. Okay. Let me come back to the chat and see. Is Chavi? Thank you for following along. Thanks, Amir. Yeah, Venkat will do it some other time. So Sanskar, when you do you just have to select F4 to log the formula. Sign, we do not have it for today's agenda, but if let's see, we are just covering the logical functions today. So we have only three more formulas to look at. Okay, so SUMIF, AVERAGEIF, COUNTIF, all this would allow you to look at only a particular logic. Okay, only a single logic. But what SUMIFs, AVERAGEIFs, and COUNTIFs would do is, it would give you, it would give you the numbers or the desired data by looking at multiple logics. Okay, so here if you look at it, we if it got only some of the total marks from the from of all the students who are from Bangalore. Say we'll extend the formula a bit, or we'll extend the question by a bit, and let's see what is the total marks of all the students who are from Bangalore and are from second PUC. Okay, so some ifs. So if you remember, in SUMIF we used to select the sum range at the end. When you go to SUMIFs, sum range comes at the starting itself. Okay, so let's select this range. So this is the range. This is something that we want to sum basically. Okay, now if you follow the sections along, criteria range, criteria 1, criteria 2, so you can give n number of criterias. Okay, I'm not sure on the number of criteria that you could give. The max that I've used is about 5 or 6 in the past, or maybe even less. Okay, so the first condition we want to see that is whether the student is from Bangalore or not. Okay, let's log the formula, and criteria is Bangalore, and the criteria is coming in quotes, and I'm carefully separating all the sections by a comma over here. And the next logic should be on the class, wherein we look at people from second PUC alone. uh, People, if you're not from from the local education system, first PUC and second PUC are basically 11th and 12th. um, so our criteria goes again within double quotes. Okay, so 472 is what I got over here. Let's verify the formula. If I've selected all the C2 H2, yeah, everything is started from the right place, and we've logged all the formulas correctly. So for us, for you, for normal day, what we would have done is we've just selected Bangalore over here, and then selected second PUC up here. Then would have just gotten the formula. So I mean, would have gotten the total marks. Okay. uh, but 484. So but what this would, what formulas like this would make you do is, it would stop you from doing, applying multiple formulas and getting the number, within a snap of a finger, you get all the data, right? uh, so we've done this, and let's see average if. So average ifs again, even in average if we selected the average range at the end. Here also we start it at the beginning itself. Okay, let's lock the formula. Then criteria range. So what is my criteria? I want first PUC students, data of first PUC students who are based in Bangalore. Okay. So for me, the criteria again starts in the city. Let's log the formula, and then this is the criteria that I want. The next criteria is on the class. So let's select the range of class, log the formula, and call your criteria over here, close. Okay, once you do that, you get 157. So we've used Bangalore and first PUC. So for us to verify, what we would do, would just go in here, select PUC, that is class 1, and select only Bangalore because that is the city that we're looking at. And if you look at the total, if you look at the average, say 157.33, we've got 157 because we are not looking at the decimal. If you increase the decimal, you would get the same number. Okay. All right. So before going to the last one, um, Saurabh, the only thing is to use it on a daily basis. Thanks, Biswajit, for the index formula over there, index and match. That is another the useful formula that we could use in our daily day-to-day work. We have one last function, COUNTIFS. Like I said, this is more easier than the other two, wherein you just select count few things. You do not sum or average. So the question of range will not be here. You just select the criteria. Okay. So COUNTIFS, we want all the students that are based in Delhi and have passed the exams. Okay. So for us, you can start from here, from city. Again, let's lock the formula, and location is Delhi. And to get the pass result, where do we go? We have a condition that we had used over here. Let's lock the same, and let's call the criteria people whosoever that is passed. Apparently we have only one student who's based out of Delhi and passed the exam. Can we clarify it? Yes, we could. So let's select Delhi over here, and just by looking at the color, you can tell there's only one student that has passed the exams, and one. So that's what we've gotten over there. So this is how we use logical functions. So you could use it, like I said, you could use it for numbers. You could use it for text. You could also use VLOOKUPs based on this. There are multiple things that you could uh, that that helps your day-to-day work. Okay. So mm, let me look at any questions that are related to this. Thanks, Samir. I just did that. Please post your questions. If you have any, I'll try to answer as much as I can. Uh, Vinod, I think there's a question for you. If you can share the recording or the Excel sheet.
Yes, yes, we will share the recording.
Okay, okay. Uh, I think I'm done with all the formula that I wanted to speak about. All the conditional formatting, the if, not, or, and, the nested formulas, the nested ifs, all those are done. I don't see any questions. If you noted down something, I'll be happy. I'll be happy to answer or pick a few more examples. Sure, Chavi, we'll do that. Mm, Can we explain about what in conditional format can we highlight the complete row instead of just. Yes, we can, Harshita. You just have to select the entire range. I hope I've answered your question there. Can you please explain about basic macros? Vinay, it's a phased approach in Excel. You first learn the advanced formulas and then move to macros. That way, it becomes more of a phased approach to Excel. That's how I've learned. Mm, we have about 10 minutes. There's somebody who's asking for VLOOKUP. Are you okay for me to do that?
Yes, Abhijit, continue.
Okay. So let's do this. Okay. I have all the names over here. I want their, their grades, whether they have, scored a, scored their, scored first class, failed, or distinction. So what do we do? So we have only 10 records over here. You could have done a copy paste. Say you have a record of, you have a sheet of about 10,000 or almost one lakh lines. That time it becomes, almost impossible to copy paste. So we use VLOOKUP then. So VLOOKUP is basically, you need to have two different sheets wherein you have the same value in both the sheets. At least one, say one same value in both the sheets, and that same value has to be unique. If if it's the same, it won't work. In a perfect world, what we would have done is, we would have used student ID, because that that is unique for everybody. Say if you have somebody from your sales, sales rep ID would become the unique ID. Say if you are doing it for your employees, then their employee ID or their email ID would become the unique one. Since we do not have the student ID over here, let's use their name itself as, as new, because uh, the GPT gave me, five 25 different names. So all these 25 names are, unique. So to begin, we look up. So like all the formulas, we start with equals and then put the formula. So for us, again, understanding what the Excel formula says over here becomes, very very important. So lookup value is, what do you want to look up to? So we want Mateo's grades. All right. So then let's celebrate, separate it by a comma. Okay. This is where I have the data basically. Okay. So what do I do? You always start your table array from the place where your lookup value, lookup value starts. So for us, it starts in A. Okay. Say, if it was starting from G, we would have started it from G. So thankfully it is starting from A. And then let's go up until the value that we have. So Q is where we have our values. Okay, this is what we are trying to bring in the other sheet. And if you look at over here, you know up at the top, there's 1 million multiplied by 17c. So that 17th column is what you're trying to get over there. Okay, so 17th column, you could have, if you put 16, you would get column P. You want column Q over there, so you would put 17. So yeah, the Excel would suggest the column name, or column number for you. Okay, so let's use 0 over here, which is a true match, and then close the formula. Okay, so Matteo was a failed students, one of the failed students. So that's what we've got over here, failed. And if we drag the formula all the way down till Mia White, we get it. It's one of the simplest formulas that we have. And you know you could also use this with if, you could also use this with if error. There are multiple things that you could use VLOOKUP with. I hope that was useful. Let me come back to the chat. Manoj, I am not sure if there is one. There's definitely one for SUMIF. Sorry, sum, not the SUMIF. No problem, Pooja. Uh, Divya, calculate volume. What volume are we talking about over here? Yes, Vignesh, it would also work in SharePoint, only if you have access to the particular file. When should you use? So, Dhirendra, say you are trying to doing a lookup for multiple lines. We had only one value to be looked up at, the pass fail and the distinction. Say suppose you have about 20 or 25, the numbers could be n numbers, right? If you're trying to get multiple data into based on a particular value, you could use index match. So what would index match do is it would also look at your header, and also it would look at your lookup value. uh, Dhirendra just answered. um, Again, I'm waiting for your response on this. Mm, Jyoti, we just did. I think that's Deep Jyoti. Uh, not sure, Dinesh. This question has never struck me before, but definitely, if there is one, I can while I'll see. Uh, but as far as I recall, we've not done this before. But let's see. If there is one, I'll try to get get sorted. You can use column formula. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Samir. You can actually look at the column number. Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Then it might not give you the exact. It would look at column Q, not not by the uh, array starting. So if you're starting it from A, then it would work correctly. So if you're starting it from column G or column I, then it might not work. Vinod, there's only 3 minutes. I don't think we're gonna get too many questions. It's more of the questions are with regards to recordings and stuff. So if everything is okay, we can take about 3 minutes back.
Jay, if you're done, you can wrap up.
Yeah, awesome then. So thank you guys. Thank you for participating in today's webinar. Hope this was useful. Hope to meet you guys sometime soon again. So until we meet next time, take care. Have a good day over there. Bye bye.